that goes by. People always ask me why black holes. Listen up, baby girl, shit, I'm about to let you know why I always got a black holes. Whoa, 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 whoa. They talking shit up in my comments. Yeah, they don't know, but I'm about to block them. Cause every day, I block hoes. They be being shitty, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Cause you know I block hoes, baby. In different area codes, baby. You never know, but I block.
Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. What is up, everybody? Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for being tuned in on this good old Wednesday, baby. Y'all, it's been a whole lot going on. I don't know if y'all seen, well, a few of y'all did, but I made a post on my community wall 2 days ago, and I said, you can literally hear a rat PISS on cotton right about now. And I had a few of y'all said, Pop, don't talk too soon. Pop, that mean the storm is coming. Or Pop, that's because of everything that didn't happen during the week, right? Y'all, I was literally getting my nails done yesterday, and doing little things I needed to do for my trip because I'm going on vacation this weekend. And the ish hit the fan, right? And it's just mind boggling that it seems like, well, let me say the hypocrisy of it all is that the minute the CCs get quiet, she comes out disrupting the peace, right? Because that's what it gave. Everybody was, doing their content, just minding their own business, and then boom, here she go on YouTube going live, right? That's the crazy part of it all. So it's like, what is really going on, child? But before I even get into it, let me call on my people. Y'all know how this go, baby. And no, ain't no trolls coming over here because if you are not subscribed to my channel for at least 3 days, you are not allowed to comment. And if you do comment something crazy, you getting gone. Ain't no understanding over here. This is mature, grown adult dialogue. Period. You act like a child, you're gonna get chastised like one. And you're gonna get completely out of here. That's it, that's all. We don't do that over here, baby. You don't get to say whatever you want to say over here. No, sorry, I'm not one of those bloggers. Anyways, let's see who we got in here just so we can get this started. Y'all had this live completely set as something different, but I switched it over because I was in my sis Harmony's live stream. I seen a lot of y'all in there. Y'all know she did her big one. She don't go live too often. I'll be trying to get her to go live more often. So hopefully she does because she does have the gift of gab. Also, she has a very soothing voice, and people like to hear her talk and hear her commentary. So hopefully she keeps it going. But that's why I didn't get to get my receipts together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a little story time over here. And then when I do my next live stream, I'm gonna show y'all all the receipts to back it up. Because I got a few receipts that I want to pull out the vault as reminders, right? But this live is gonna be more so about Johnnell the Abrussah or Johnnell Ike Young. Okay. Hey, my Karen. Hey, Miss Shalene. Hey, Miss Love Mel. Miss E. We got Miss Angela B. It's all about God. It's in the building. My sis Michelle DeBelle. We got Miss Duncan, Miss Lisa. We got Miss Brenda, Malibu Genies, Latae, of course. We got Sweet Queen, my Queen Mod. Shout out to you. We got, hold up, let's see, let me go down. One Reese Pooh, Miss Cheryl Daggs, my Louisiana sister. You say sitting out eating crawfish, waiting on the show. Listen, I need me some right about now, but they gotta be big. I don't eat the small ones. Hey Sabi. Hey Sid. Who else we got in here? I am her. Yes, they are hot, baby. Miss Geraldine. We got, hold up, let me see. There's Talia. We got Black Widow in the building. Miss Lolo. We got Hercules. Shout out to you. We got Gracie. Lot of business in the building. We got You Change Me. We got, let me see, Miss Witty. Jazzy, Miss Biggs. Who, me? Yes, you. My girl Lucky in the building, Miss Jean, Miss Rebecca, we got Miss Ashley, Myla Renee. Shout out to you, my love. Simply Sunshine Moments, Tierra Straight Up No Chaser. That's exactly what it is. We're gonna get into it, y'all. Peep the plot, peep the play. You can't fool the intelligent. Hey Miss Jackie, hey Miss Nancy, hey Sheeta, hey Leslie. Who else? Let me see. I'm chosen. I love you more, my love. Upper echelon, the great debater is in the building. Miss Simone, Miss Ramona. Who else? Let me see. Death Baby, Miss Angeline. We got Mr. Reese, Miss Lady. Shout out to you, Jaquita. Kim in the building. Treasure Life. Madonna. Wisdom Warrior. Hey, my love. Gemini Rising, Sweetly Favored. We got Sierra. Let me see. Meet Us, my other Louisiana sister. Shout out to you. Rozzy Ozzy in the building. We got Queen Money Soul Gang in the building. We got Renita. Integrity. Yes, I love me some harmony. Love me some harm. Let me see. I think that's it, y'all. One Reese Pooh. Did I get everybody? Bro 6565. Shout out to you. Jazzy Red, my love. What wait? What's Tea and the Crumpets? Okay. Shout out to you. You switched it up to Lil. Hey Dreamy Girl. All right. That's it for now, y'all. Y'all know how I do when I do what I do, right? Y'all know I shout out my people. If you don't like it, sorry. That's just something that I do over here. You can always fast forward if you catch the replay, right? But anyways, y'all, like I said, we're gonna do a little story time just to take it back. And then when I do my next live stream, I'm gonna provide the receipts to back up, pretty much everything. Because that's what I do. I keep receipts in the vault, especially important receipts, right? But anyways, so Laonya took to her live stream on YouTube today. And I find it very peculiar that she made mention, especially yesterday, that everybody that's speaking against her, they're doing it for cash apps, they doing it for super chats or whatever, and nobody's page has gotten past 1,000 subscribers and blase blase, right? Which we all know that's not true. Because I don't know too many people that's even in this saga that hasn't passed 1,000 subs. But one of the things that I noticed throughout her live streams was that she kept mentioning Super Chat Party. And I'm like, light bulb, right? Because I just don't like hypocrisy, y'all. I can't stand hypocrisy, especially when you are literally doing the exact same thing that you're accusing others of doing. Baby, if you want a YouTube bag, just say that. Just say that. You don't have to put other people down because you want to make a YouTube bag. Everybody over here making a bag for the most part. YouTube is where it's at. Like, but don't try to down the bloggers, because if anything, it looks worse on your part that you constantly asking for super chat parties than the little people, us. Because we're small, we're starting at the bottom, we're getting it out the mud to build these platforms. You had it easy. You got millions of followers on your platforms and you begging for super chat parties, because I don't see nothing different that's being said when you're asking for a super chat party. Just like when we do it. Hey y'all, super chat party. Hey y'all, if y'all would like to bless the cash app, blase blase. So what's the difference? What gives you a pedestal to where you can ask for it and it's not considered begging, but when the little people do it, it is? You would think that your bag would be bigger than ours, seeing as how you have way more followers and you wouldn't even need to ask for a super chat, right? Am I right or am I right, y'all? Like I just don't understand it. How can you criticize the small people for doing their jobs? And I'm talking about as far as, when we say, hey y'all, can y'all give a super chat party, or we set a goal, or we say if you would like to bless the cash app. I don't see too many people that's forcing anybody to be a blessing. Everybody's saying it the same way and doing it, and nobody, it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. But y'all, child, when I tell you, she literally said super chat party way more than I even make mention of it. That's the craziest part about it. I'm like, God dang, like she say you need some money, baby. Like just say that. Or say you trying to get a YouTube bag. Because the platform YouTube doesn't belong to anybody. Anybody can come over here. But don't try to make excuses as far as to why you're doing certain things. Now that's one thing I wanted to get out the way. Second, it was a few things that she said that I found disgusting. And you have to be real careful when you putting certain things onto people that don't belong to them. When you trying to force jackets that don't belong, and y'all know I'm speaking hypothetically, well, metaphorically when I say forcing jackets, because I haven't heard any CC say the vile things that she told these people in that live stream. And let me see if I can say it without repeating it, because child, one of the things that she spoke of, y'all, she said that people were saying that her dad raped her and they had a baby. That was one of the things. Who said who said that? Who said that? And a lot of the stuff she's saying, she's mentioning things that trolls say in the comments, right? Bloggers and CCs have no control over what trolls behind fake pages say. She knows that because everybody who's online then had a taste of a troll or two. That's what they do. They hide behind pages and they say the most disgusting things. You are not an exception to that, baby. But don't try to put that on the CC says bloggers, because you want to make your story, the narrative, the you victimizing yourself, more dramatic than what it is. Because that's exactly what you're doing. That's it. When I listened to that on Harmony's live stream, the stuff that she was saying, y'all, I said she is really, really trying to victimize herself. But you can't put things on people, and that's why I can call cap on her with her whole I'm going to the courts, but I'm gonna make it known on social media, because one minute it's, oh, y'all need to stop talking about me. The next minute it's, oh, well, y'all could talk about me a little bit, but talk about other people too. And in the third is, I don't care if y'all talk about me, but leave my kids out of it. I don't see nobody dragging or bullying her children. What I see is people criticizing her mothering skills for the most part. That's what I see. But I can't go too much outside of my platform. I can only hold my own self accountable and speak on what I do. And I know I don't speak on nobody's children, child, especially not in a negative or derogatory manner. But that's not cool. You can't be saying things to try to get a bigger reaction or get people backing you off of deception. Like, not one of these bloggers over here told you anything like that as far as your dad raping you and y'all making a baby together. Not a blogger. And another thing she said was something about the girls. I can't remember, y'all, but it was disgusting. And if y'all remember when that was said, I think that was last year, if I'm not mistaken, when that was said, the person, I'm not even going to say her name, shout out to her. She came on my platform and she apologized for saying it. So big shout out to her for even apologizing, because most people on social media ain't going to give you that, especially when they feel a certain way about you and your behavior. And she knows that the lady apologized for saying it. So why are you still pushing old narratives, trying to make it seem like people are doing it presently? That's not cool. Because one thing about it is, if you do decide to go to court, You gotta prove that. You gotta prove that the bloggers, you basically giving the bloggers a very nice countersuit. Because that's defaming our characters when you start saying things or putting jackets on us that we didn't even say. You can't blame us for stuff that trolls say in the comments, ma'am. And she knows that, y'all. She not that crazy. She knows that, but she wants it to be way more dramatic. She wants a bigger audience to back her up, and that's why she's feeding people falsehood. That's exactly why. And that's why I could call Cap and keep my lawyer on ice, because she constantly putting her foot in her mouth when she says certain things. For one, you cannot control what people say or the repetitiveness of how they say it. Maybe you need to take a look in the mirror, because if people still talking about you, then that means you're giving them something to talk about. And I heard somebody in her live stream say, how did all of this start? So she didn't want to talk about that. She was like, well, it don't matter how it started. That's in the past. It's about how I'm going to end it or something like that. Yes, it does matter how it started, because you don't get to come on social media with that size platform, calls HELL all over social media with deception, gaslighting, and playing on DV victims. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that and then try to dictate when people stop talking about the hell that shooting caused. You don't get to do that. I'm pretty sure, and most of these, the bloggers and CCs that I could think of, are not slow. And, for the most part, they know their rights. They know how to do their content within certain limits and follow guidelines, baby, when it comes to freedom of speech. So it was a post made, y'all. And we're going to get into the nostril with our story time. We're going to be here for a little bit. Hold up. Because I made time. And thank you, my Karen, for that Cash App blessing. I appreciate you, my love. I'm live now. Hold on, y'all. So let's see. Where's this post? And this is another thing too. If you're familiar with the court system, then you know when it comes to cyber stalking, harassment, slander, defamation, bullying, all of these things you have to prove. You can't just go in the courtroom and say, look, you see all them thumbnails with my picture on it? That shows that they've been talking about me every day. You can't just say that, because you have to prove within what you're showing these people that what you're presenting is actually being done, ma'am. You have to prove that. Like on social media, people will take it and run with it. That's obvious, because those people don't care. A lot of these people will literally go. That's what's so unfair about social media. You can tell people anything and they will run with it. But the courts don't work like that. And she knows that for a fact. I have a receipt right now where RH tried to get her for social media, tried to get a TPO on her for social media back when she had her bullying campaign against her husband. And she laughed about it in the post and said the judge say you cannot do anything about social media with freedom of speech. She said that out her own mouth. And that's why she's trying to find different ways to go outside of that to get people for a TPO. But you got to make sure it matches up. You got to make sure it matches up. She knows people have freedom of speech when it comes to social media. She knows people can talk about her as long as they want to talk about her, as long as they're giving commentary within a certain range. And she is constantly putting things out there to be talked about. Baby, I have a receipt right now when you decided to do your When a Woman's Fed Up story time 4 months ago, or less than 4 months ago, about Johnnell on all platforms, where somebody specifically said in the comments, you giving the blogger something to talk about, maybe you need to get off live. and you said, I don't care, run it up on every platform. I don't give a F. So the fact that you know what you're doing and you know that people are going to talk, you acknowledge that, speaks volume. And you would think that for somebody who does not like being spoken on social media, they would learn their lesson, because you'd have had more than one lesson on social media when it comes to this situation. It happened with your husband. That should have been your lesson. That should have been your lesson right there. But you kept going. You kept going with the current boyfriend. You done did it like 3 or 4 times with him. And it's always the same outcome. Bloggers are going to talk. You don't get to dictate the longevity of people talking about your storyline. You are a public figure, ma'am. You're not somebody with 1,000 followers that's on private. What is it called, y'all? That's on private on Facebook or something like that. You have a professional page. You're listed as a public figure, and you put things out there. So when you go to court, make sure you're willing to show the judge, because I think that's the key part of what everybody is missing, is what she does on social media. People are speaking on that. They're speaking on your behavior. They're using your videos and your clips to give commentary. And you have to also prove malicious intent and all of that. Communicating THREATS. Nobody's going on your platform in your comments, as far as bloggers. I mean, telling you certain things, uh, intimidating you, harassing you, or anything of that sort. You have to come here to see what's being spoken on. That's the difference. That's the difference, because you can, whenever, and if I can recall, when you went to police station to police station to police station trying to get TPOs, trying to get people to stop talking about you, they told you to take your kids off of social media. If you don't like it, remove. Because that's what the judge will say also. If you don't like people speaking, because if you decide to take bloggers to court for giving commentary on your constant patterns of behavior that you display on social media voluntarily, let me put that out there, all caps, guess what? We just have to show the judge, look, Your Honor, this is what she does. This is the post and delete. This is the victim mentality. This is the post and delete. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. Listen to my live stream, Your Honor. You can see where there's no profanity being used. You can see where I'm speaking, giving commentary based off of her behavior and what not to do if you're a public figure, what not to do if you're a regular person. Ain't nothing malicious about it. So when you speak of harassment, slandering, defaming, bullying, you have to prove all of that. You can't just say it. You can't, just because you think that's what it is, doesn't make it true. And I cannot stress that enough, y'all, because people tend to, especially on social media, people tend to take what they feel and run with it and spread. But just because you feel that way doesn't make it true. That's why it's a such thing called my truth, your truth, and the truth. So it was posted. Since y'all like to throw around freedom of speech, let me educate you. Harassment is generally not considered protected free speech, right? Especially when it's based on a person's protected characteristics like race, religion, or sex. Nobody speaks on that. While the First Amendment protects a wide range of speech, including that which is offensive or hateful, clock that, it does not protect speech that rises to the level of harassment. Discriminatory harassment, clock the key word, y'all. True, THREATS, who's doing that to her? Incitement, The only person we didn't see inciting is her. Are examples of speech that is not protected under the First Amendment. Protected versus unprotected speech. The First Amendment protects a broad range of speech, even if it's unpopular or offensive. However, there are exceptions, and some types of speech are not protected, including harassment based on protected characteristics, true THREATS, incitement, and defamation. How can we defame you with your information that you put out there? I'm confused. We using what you put out, and if you say it's embarrassing, you put it out there. Make that make sense. If your behavior, if people speaking on your behavior is embarrassing, why constantly keep putting it out there? I know I wouldn't go on live and put something out there that could be used against me later to embarrass me. And it's a pattern. It's constant behavior. It's not no one and done. It's not no one and done. So it says, harassment, as defined in many contexts, involves unwelcome conduct that creates a hostile environment for a person based on their protected characteristics. Keyword characteristics, y'all. This can include verbal, physical, or visual behavior that is severe or pervasive enough to alter the conditions of work or create a hostile environment. I think she's taking certain words from that context, but taking it out of context and using it to her benefit. You can't just look at this paragraph and say, "Oh, it's hostile. Oh, harassment. Oh, hold on. Let me see what's the other one she used. Hold on, hold on, y'all. Oh Lord. Okay. Let me get myself together. You can't take certain words out of context and just because you think it relates, you run with it. No, you have when you post stuff like this, you have to really, really understand what you're posting as a whole. You can't just take what you think will benefit you or try to. I gotta go back to what she said earlier. Use what other people are saying and try to hold the bloggers accountable for it. You can't do that. You can't do that. Because you really have to prove that bloggers are dragging and bullying your children. None of that goes on my platform. And I seen Harm Live earlier. I've never seen her do it. We actually give compliments to your baby. People talk about you and what you portray on social media. They talk about your mothering skills. They critique that. That's not the same as bullying your children, baby. Now I gotta say this, y'all. There has been some derogatory statements made that I've seen since I've been in the saga, but it didn't come from bloggers. It was trolls. She will literally take a troll's comment and go on her big page with it to show them and make it seem like it's the blogger saying these things. I didn't see her do it more than once. She did it today. She did it today. Even the whole statement where she said somebody said something about her son. I'm not gonna repeat it, y'all, because it was so vile. And I know exactly who said it because she forgave the person. That's when she made CPS, made her supporters call CPS, and the person responded with that. But then the person apologized and they forgave each other. So why are you still using that as if the bloggers are currently saying these things? When it was none of the bloggers right here in this moment that even made that statement. That's what you call gaslight. While you constantly throwing around the narc word. That's what you call gaslighting, baby. Stop trying to put stuff on us to make something stick. Just because you don't like that we do commentary on your behavior. Because you had no problem with praising somebody else for doing commentary on your ex. Make it make sense. Whew, Lord, y'all. Do I want to read some more of this? No, that's good. That's good. That's good. Like, I don't know what is going on. Okay. Um, make it make sense. Like, you can't do that. That's not cool. That's not cool. Just say you don't like people talking about you. Change your behavior. Stop putting out things that will make people talk, controversial things. And that's why I have to go back to it was so quiet, y'all. The YouTube streets were so quiet. Next thing you know, boom, here she comes. Here she comes. But just say you want to get a YouTube ad. You ain't got to do all that extra stuff. You ain't got to be deceptive. Because once you start being deceptive around the truth becomes deception. Manipulated truths become deception, baby. So it could very well be true that somebody said a certain thing about your babies or you, but when you start putting it on other people to make it more dramatic or to gaslight the situation, it becomes a lie. It becomes deception. Like, come on now. Child. All right, y'all. So let's get into, I'm still stuck on her saying people begging and this and that, but she literally said a super chat party about 10 times in that live stream. What's the difference? What's the difference? Like, I don't understand. That's what bloggers do. If you want to be a blessing, but you don't have to. But don't say it's begging like people standing at the road with a can. Don't try to make it seem like people begging or using your name to beg or talking about you just to get money. These are platforms, man. Just because they're not very large like yours don't mean they don't matter. These are jobs. These are jobs. And another thing, y'all all know that this is a secondary income for me. My YouTube is secondary. That's why I'm not on here all the time. So when she's constantly saying they talk about me 24 hours straight, they talk about me all day long, they have 8 to 10-hour panels. Who's doing that? Because last time I checked, the 8 to 10-hour panels is on your end. Who's doing that? I give y'all 1 to 2 hours 20 out of 24 hours. And if I go live the next day, depending on my schedule. So I'm confused. Yes, people are making videos, but it's relative to your behavior. It's commentary on your behavior and what you put out here or what other people have put out here about you. People ain't going to do background checks and this and that trying to invade your personal privacy. That's the difference. And that's the part I think a lot of people are missing, y'all. She's pushing a narrative as if people are invading her privacy and just harassing her, slandering her, defaming her, bullying her, and all of these different things. When just because you posted and deleted doesn't mean that it don't count. It can still be used once it's put on the internet. You don't get to dictate if people stay in the moment with you. And I think that's what she wants. She wants to be able to come on social media, expose somebody, expose her personal business, put out very controversial things, whether it's truthful or not. And she wants the bloggers to live in that moment, talk about it that day or the next day and be done with it. But that's not how social media works. It's not. And it never will. You'll have a better chance at changing your behavior before changing social media. I don't understand why she don't get that. And when she comes out here and says certain things, I'm like, child, that's not even relative. You putting stuff on bloggers that don't even belong. Say what it really is. Say what it really is. You don't want people talking about Johnnell because you are currently in a relationship with him. regardless of the fact that you came out here and told everybody that he's abusive. You currently in a relationship with him, and you know that because people still talk on your story, that it makes it hard for you behind the scenes when it comes to him. Because we remember the what is it called? Um Headquarters calls. We remember those being stated. He's gonna leave me if I don't fix this. We remember that. We remember that. We have the recordings of you coming out here publicly trying to keep yourself clean, saying, I told everybody to stop. I told everybody to stop. But your people behind the scenes saying, well, she say stop, but she still send us stuff to post. Make that make sense. You don't get to keep your hands clean or portray a narrative that you're clean when people are literally working for you. It's projection. The exact same things you accuse your ex-husband of is what you actually do in reality. Ain't no battery and no back over here, baby. I'm a leader. Never been a father. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Okay? I don't need a battery. Can't be controlled. Cannot. Never could. Never could be controlled. I just don't get it, y'all. Like, what is going on? Hey to everybody that's coming in. Shout out to y'all. Y'all please hit that like button. Let me do my disclaimer. Since long you say we be begging and the supporters don't even support us for real. We be just over there begging, not even getting nothing and da 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 da. Um she did a big one to manipulate them people into sending her stuff, child. But if y'all would like to donate to my commentary monetarily, you can cash at me $sign Lupac1 to also buy me a coffee. Shout out to all my coffee people. You can also support the platform by getting a super chat or a super sticker. Y'all been getting them. Shout out to y'all for helping me with my goal. It's not mandatory, but it is appreciated, and it does contribute to the revenue of this live stream. Not yesterday, but this. Okay? Okay? Shout out to all my members, days 1, 2s, and 3s. It's a lot of content over there. So if you are not a member, I suggest you join. We do it big in members only. It's a lot of tea over there. It's a whole lot of tea. And definitely hit that like button because that's free. Free 99. You cannot beat free. All right. Back to regular scheduled programming. Right? So she was over there calling for super chat parties, but talking down on us. It's crazy. How often do you even hear us saying, hey, y'all, give me a super chat party? Give me a super chat party? No. We give our disclaimers. You might hear us say, y'all, hit the like button. Well, I can speak for myself. Hit the like button. If y'all want to donate to my goal, y'all can. If y'all don't want to, if you can't, just hit the like button. That's it. Don't try to make it seem like people just begging and this and that when you constantly saying, super chat party, y'all. Super chat party. Like if y'all donate right now, I'm gonna give it back. I'm gonna give it back to one person. When you had already been collected a whole lot, you could have just gave that to one person. Why they had to keep doing it? I guarantee you that wasn't gonna be given to no one person, child. Not the way she was asking for it. It sounded like she needed it. For somebody who got all those followers, it sounded like she needed that money, baby. She was real adamant. Hold on, y'all. Kenny! Hold on, y'all. Yeah, it sounded like she needed it. All right. Hey, Tajay. Yeah, she changed it and said she gonna use it for a lawyer. Child, if you don't go sit down, her best bet, y'all, is to, if you don't like what people speaking on, change your behavior. That's it. Just switch it up. If you say you positive, and this is the most controversial part of it all, you saying you positive, but you're really not. Put it for a minute, okay? You saying you positive, but you're really not. Because if you was, nobody would have nothing negative to say when it comes to positivity. Because you can't. Like you just can't. Even though some people try to pull negative out of positive, but when you really, and I mean really positive, because there's a lot of celebrities public figures, socialites, whatever, famous people, whatever you want to call it, that's out here, y'all, that barely gets any negative backlash based on how they operate and how they move. It's a whole lot, I promise you. So it's very much possible. But you got, like, it's at this point it's time to change. You can't, and I don't know why she's so stuck on a specific set of bloggers, myself included. And y'all know how I operate over here. Y'all know I don't have no profanity. Like, it's straight and clear on the commentary based on what she's putting out. I clock them lies. I debunk them lies. Maybe that's it. Because you know, when you could debunk a lie with the person who lied, and you could debunk it with their own lie. I mean, their own info, baby. Listen, okay. But I just don't get it. Like, change your behavior. If you got all of these people out here that's speaking against you, constructively giving constructive criticism, if you got that many bloggers, because it's not just us. She like to say, oh, it's 5 or 4, thank you, or however many that's constantly speaking on her. But I didn't see so many different bloggers / CCs that's speaking on her. So many. That speaks volumes, and it's different platforms too. They be tearing her up on TikTok, baby. And I didn't even know that. Somebody told me that the other day, and I had to go look for myself. That speaks volumes. If you got this many people that don't know you speaking negatively about you, that should tell you something. You need to switch it up. It's something that you're doing that's making people want to give you constructive criticism. Even with you in the live saying, people need to learn how to take constructive criticism, and you know, people say stuff. I'm like, I know she lying. And she even said this one day, y'all, and I played this video for y'all, where she said, if all of the fingers are pointing at you, then it gotta be something that you're doing. They're not just telling you that for no reason. That's crazy. And social media is so backwards. I have never seen a situation where people will cover a bruise or sweep it under the rug. That is crazy. Y'all cannot get out here and tell people, y'all laughing or joking about a victim when the victim is choosing to stay in that environment. And not just that, because it's a whole, let me say this, let me give context, because there's a whole lot of victims who choose to stay with their abuser because, you know, a lot of times they're scared to escape. They're scared to leave. I'm talking about real abuse victims. They have to plan an escape because their life depends on it. We ain't talking about somebody who come out here and give a sob story, crying and carrying on, then the next minute post a baby boy meme talking about 1 minute we tearing it down, cops called, family involved, and the next minute we like this watching a movie with Tyrese and Taraji laying on the sofa. Make that make sense. You don't get to play with DV victims, real DV victims, play on their emotions, try to gather and recruit them with lies when you want to, and then when you go back to your bruiser, you want to try to gaslight social media and make it seem like everybody is lying on you or flipping your words or whatever. No, you don't get to do that. Because that's not what people are doing. Especially if people can hear it straight out the horse's mouth. Because that's how I see the content. I see people using your lies and what you say, your crash out moments, and they rebuttaling it with a couple weeks ahead or even a couple days ahead. The whole narrative didn't change. That's what I see. People ain't flipping your word. Just like when you was on live stream calling Johnnell a Build-A-Bear. I don't want to build no more fence. And somebody came the next day when you decided to reconcile with this man and come right back to the very same platform that you drug him on and take accountability, saying people was twisting your words or trying to make it feel how you felt when you, my dear, was on that live stream telling everybody everything about this man plucking boogers, being in females' DMs. He don't pay for nothing, be running out of gas. All of that came from your mouth. And people was just in the comments agreeing with you or telling you you deserve better. That's what they was doing. Why are you settling for that? I know he not. Girl, you deserve better. You too pretty for that. That's what they was saying. Nobody was flipping your words and or trying to make it feel how you felt, like she said. That's not what they was doing. And that's how she comes out and gaslight. And that's why I could never consider her in a victim. It gives mutual combat. It gives that she's the abuser, if you ask me, based on her behavior. Because a victim don't act like that. So when you got people saying, well, y'all don't know what went on in the house and this and that. No, we don't. But we know what went on social media. We can speak on that. We can speak on the inconsistency. And here's the thing. When you telling your own story, this is why you have to be mindful. When you come out publicly telling your own story, and it's your inconsistencies that makes people change their viewpoints of your status, whether it be victim or bullshit. Excuse my French, because y'all know I don't be cussing. Like, come on now, make it make sense. People don't view you as a victim because of your behavior. Nothing else. The inconsistencies that you put out on social media. That's what people are going off of. You don't get to come out here and say, oh, he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. And then the next day you say, y'all be flipping my words, trying to make it something else. I never said I lied. I said I over exaggerated, but y'all made it into something else. What? You have to pick a spot and stay there. That's why people are still talking about you. It's too much. It's too much going on. Too many inconsistencies. Just because you post and delete don't mean it didn't happen, and don't mean that people won't speak on it. Because baby, by the time you, and here's the thing, you have to contribute that to your size platform. Yes, you might go live and then delete it shortly after, but you probably got over 1,000 people in that live stream. Somebody gonna get it, and somebody gonna spread it, and somebody's gonna talk about it every single time. The only person that's to blame for what's going on social media is yourself. And that's where accountability comes in at. So when you say, when y'all look in the Bible, not the Bible, child, in the dictionary, and you see accountability, y'all gonna see my face? No, we won't. Now, lack of accountability, we would. But accountability is you coming out here and you making a public statement saying, I take the blame for every single thing that I've ever done on social media. And I recognize that the only reason why these bloggers and CCs are even speaking about me is because of what I put out. That's true accountability. And if you really want to take it there, you will come out here and apologize to RH for lying on that 911 video. Because we all seen that the operator did not ask you if that man had a pew. We all seen and heard it for ourselves. That's real accountability. People holding you, and when you say, oh, it's in the past, right? Yes, the situation with you and your husband was in the past, but Johnnell is current. And guess what? You cause so much of an uproar with you and your husband's situation. You best believe that bloggers and CCs are going to use that situation to compare and validate patterns of behavior in your future situation. So when you say, oh, it's old, y'all keep talking about it. Yeah, it might be old, but guess what? It don't take away from the fact that we heard people saying, oh, She sent pictures to frame my husband for the abuse that's currently going on. They coincide, baby. They go hand in hand. They're relative. So yes, it might be old, but it's things that were done that make people have to go back to reference the marriage. You don't get to come out here and frame your ex-husband with your current ninjas abuse and then try to force people to shut up about it after you didn't cause the whole uproar and ruckus in the DV community. You don't get to do that. Nobody does. Or say that's in my past. No, it's only in your past, and you don't want people to talk about it because it's painting you out to be who you really are, which is a liar. Hence why you have that nickname, Lie on Ya. Nobody's saying your ex-husband was perfect. Nobody's saying he was perfect in the... Hold on, y'all. Send you $20. What you gonna do? Where you going? Okay, I'll send it to you in a few. This child, y'all, stay in my pockets, Lord. Y'all nephews, stay in my pockets. It's skip day, mama. It's skip day. We going to I ain't gonna say where he going, but my child is good, so I always give him what he asks me for. Even though I give him a little hard time sometimes because I also want him to learn responsibility and money don't grow on trees, baby. But when you got a good child, straight A student, master the ACT, listen, he can get what he want. He get what he want. Anyways, hey to everybody that's coming in, y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all, please hit the like button. I see Truth there say we 235 on the likes, 388 in the building. Y'all run them up, run them up, run them up. If you agreeing with this commentary, run up them likes, baby. And I see y'all sending me super. Shout out to y'all. It is greatly appreciated. I'm gonna read them at the end of the live, y'all. I'm gonna read them at the end. What was I saying before my child interrupted me? I hope he locked that back door. But yeah, you don't get to come out here and do that. Like that's not cool. You don't get to play on people like that. Even when it comes to Queen Fee and her situation. And when I look at Queen Fee, I look at a lot of those women over there that have been victims of abuse or, whatever you want to call it. And they literally grabbed onto this situation because they thought that they were in defense of a woman who was an actual victim. Like most of us, what a lot of people don't know is at least 95% of the people in this storyline that speak on it or follow it supported her in the beginning. People started switching up when she started switching up. When her stories started becoming inconsistent, when she started putting out half ASS receipts and RH started putting out the full receipts, because here's the thing. When you got one that's saying they're a victim and the other one that's being painted as a villain, why is it that the villain is putting out the full receipt, but the victim is only giving us half? Interesting. And the wise gonna look into that. They're gonna want to know the whole truth. Because if we gonna back you and we gonna give you our support based off of what we can sympathize with you at, because we've been there, then we want to know if you being completely truthful. We want to know it. Everybody done been through stuff. Because she like to say, well, y'all act like y'all ain't never been. Yes, we all been there. Which is why we initially sympathized with you when you came out here and told the whole world your marital business, ma'am. It was everybody that was sympathizing with you initially. But because people started seeing the situation for what it really was and receipts started dropping, because y'all have to remember that. She was given half receipts and RH started putting out the full audio. Letting us know, it didn't go like that. It didn't go like that. Let me let y'all hear the whole thing. Ain't no villain doing that. And like I said, that's not to say he's perfect, because people tend to say, oh, y'all act like he ain't never did nothing. Of course he did. He ain't God. Ain't no marriage perfect. None. Ain't no relationship perfect. Ain't nobody looking at him as if he ain't never did nothing. But the reason why we don't do commentary on him to the magnitude that the other people do it is because most people are not supporting him personally. They're supporting him as a public figure. And when I say that, if you support Beyonce and Jay-Z, are you looking into their whole background and every single thing they do to base your support off of? No. You support that person for their content, their personality, and just what they show on social media. Everybody's not doing deep dives on people to determine if they're going to support them or not. That's why. So when y'all say, they going to see one day, or I don't see why they support him, or da 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 da, what about this that he did? What about that? How is that affecting you? How is how that man chewing his food affecting us? Or if he said this or he said that, like, come on now, it just be a whole lot of foolishness. Everybody's not that personally invested. That's crazy. If it was your son and your son needed advocacy, would you come out here and people start judging him based on stuff that don't matter and determine whether or not they're going to support him in something that really matters as far as whether he committed something or not? Would you want that support to be based off of stuff that don't matter, like what he do in his spare time, especially if it ain't breaking the law, or how he do certain things with his child, how he eat, how he walk, how he yawn, how he dress, his finances? How is that important to us? Well, he lied about this, but y'all ain't saying nothing. How we know he lied? Because you said he lied? Because you don't support him? Because you're basing your non-genuine hate off of what his wife came out here and said, off of the lie that she spread? The hate ain't even genuine. Because before that day, October 14th, that man ain't never received that much hate or judgment. Never. That's how you know a lot of this hate is not genuine. It's built off of personal investment and it's based on that DV lie. And when I say personal investment, you cannot crucify somebody for what your baby daddy did or your ex-husband. That's not cool because that's not the same person. And you could be crucifying somebody who was completely innocent of those claims. And that's the crazy part. And that's why you got to be careful how you handle and use and weaponize social media. Because everybody don't have the same mental stability on here. Just like when you decide to incite and use your supporters or dox bloggers, and this is what she don't realize. It's different from for you than it is us, baby. So when you get out here and you doxing our government names that we don't even have out here, or you on a public live stream telling people to go pull up backgrounds, or telling your supporters, get them all, get them gone, do this, do that. When you delete it because you know it's wrong. Because if it ain't wrong, you would keep it up. All those times you told your followers, it didn't just start today, y'all. Little Miss, I've been silent. I've been a victim. This ain't just started today. She's been inciting and weaponizing her platform since the beginning. This ain't just started. You've been trying to stop people from talking about you. So when you act like you've been patient and you just been silent and people just at you. No, you've been doing it. We got all the receipts, all the post and deletes, everything, audios, all of that. Make it make sense. You don't get to do that. And that's why, and I think she knows that, which is why, like I said before, she's literally trying to pull around the freedom of speech. She's trying to make certain things happen. That's what she's doing. She's trying to pull out defamation, pull out slander, pull out harassment. Y'all ain't just using freedom of speech. Y'all doing this. So when they over there saying my daddy raped me, who is they? Who is they, baby? No, let your audience know a troll said that. Because when you go to court, the judge gonna want to know who exactly said that. Because how can I charge this person if they didn't say that? How can I hit this person with harassment, slander, or defamation if they wasn't the one who made that statement? That's how real court works. But when you get on your platform, of course you can tell your supporters, they over there bullying my children. They over there saying this about my kids and saying da 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 da. Yeah, you could tell that to your following because they're believing what you say because they trust your word. Why I don't know, child. Because I feel like we didn't put out entirely too many lies for anybody to trust her word without a receipt, a valid one at that. Because if you've been in the saga, you know she good for putting out a half ASS receipt. So when she said, "Oh, I'm gonna save my receipts for the courts and say, oh, y'all said the judge threw it out." No, that's not what was said. I know what I said was that RH won in courts. And when I say that, I mean because why are you putting ones, Miss Pamela? Who said put one in the chat? Whenever they went to court for their divorce situation, it wasn't even made mention. Everything that she was saying on social media, as far as her whole DV campaign was with her husband, where was that mentioned anywhere in the divorce decree? You done had people that then literally read out the divorce decree on social media. So if you had any receipts to prove to the judge that you was being abused in that marriage, you would be getting alimony right now to this day under the Cruel Treatment Act. Because you sure try to get it. That's the part that the judge wasn't hearing. Because if he was, you would be getting it. He shut it down. Ain't no Cruel Treatment Act. But came on social media acting like she got so many receipts against this man. Even as far as using that baby in that situation, going and running get a therapist. Next thing you know, the minute RH applied for a GAL, guardian ad litem, that therapist turned into a magic trick. Who ain't heard about a since, child. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Anybody with some sense knows that when you dealing with the courts, especially when you have legal a lawyer advising you, they're not going to let you come out here and crash out on the internet or start being reckless with your platform, doing certain things like doxing bloggers or any of that. They're going to tell you to move in silence. Anybody with any experience with a lawyer or who has a lawyer or has been advised by a lawyer, when you get a lawyer, their job is to work for you, to answer for you. So you don't have to say nothing. Make it make sense. You ain't gonna who gonna come out here and say I got a lawyer, y'all, but then start doing things in retaliation towards bloggers. Make that make sense, please, somebody. Like I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. And stop telling people that you've been quiet for 2 years. Where? Where? See, the thing is, she's making it personal, y'all. She's making it personal. She thinks people are, well, in her mind, people are just attacking her and this and that, and they don't want to leave me alone. No, people are doing commentary and content on what you put out. It's not personal. It's based off of what your behaviors that you are putting out here. Baby, you are a whole case study, if you ask me, especially after today. A whole case study. That Thank you, Miss Rhonda, and thank you, True Slayer, for that Cash App blessing. I appreciate y'all. All right. So now let's start from the beginning, y'all. For the ones that don't know, and like I said, on my next live, because now a lot of the CCs and bloggers will be doing content strictly on Johnnell, right? Because he don't get a pass just because you decided to rekindle or reconcile with him. Because when it was RH's turn, when you decided to bring your marriage to social media and you had people coming at him and thinking that he was an abuser, you didn't have no sympathy for him. You didn't care what happened once he decided to not reconcile that marriage. You didn't care what happened to him at all. So you don't get to decide whether people talk about your new mate or not. Especially seeing as how receipts have been put out here from you and other people connected to y'all. You have no control over that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And you even went as far as using him to antagonize your ex-husband when he was the one that was abusing you at the time. That is some crazy work. Crazy work. Or even trying to place blame, frame your ex-husband with your current man's abuse. Who does that? What victim does that? Because I ain't never seen none. Every abuser for themselves, baby. Okay? And what world are we living in that we gonna cover for one and pin it on somebody else? There was no proof as far as RH is concerned. Then you get in a situation where you got all the proof in the world and you don't want nobody to talk about. What? Where they do that at, y'all? Where they do that at? So, child, now he, mama, not 20, 30. Hold on, y'all. My mama, I'm on their way back from their vacation. He gonna have to wait. He gonna wait till I get ready to send it. Okay. All right, y'all. So make sure y'all hitting the like button. And let's start from the beginning. And like I said, because I was in Harm's Live, I didn't get a chance to, even I could play one of my older videos, but I want to do a story time, right? And y'all help me fill in the blanks. If y'all feel like I missed something, put it in the comments. So let's start from the beginning. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know how this situation came about or anything like that. So, all right, it was October 14th, 2022. Not on, child. And somebody decided to post a video, a live stream. Abrussah is real, y'all. Abrussah is real. Crying, carrying on. You got RH and the daddy in the background fussing. And she said on the Bay's interview that she went live to try to get them to stop fussing. But you actually went live before that even happened, child, to be honest. But that part I really didn't understand, y'all. So that happened, right? And then we getting live streams, we getting a lot of back and forth. For the most part, everybody's siding with her because just like the Me Too movement, you believe the victim first and then you investigate. But it's like the more and more she came out, the more she put her foot in her mouth, the more she showed people that you should question this. It's some inconsistencies going on, child. Something in the milk ain't clean, baby. Every time she put something else out, right? She started, and as that's going on, you got people that's starting to leave her support side and move over to the husband. You got women bloggers that's starting to speak up because it was so much going on, bashing, defaming, dragging, and all of that to the husband, to where once people started seeing inconsistencies, women started speaking up for the husband because he shouldn't have to go back and forth with other women with women on the internet, period. So women started speaking up because they started to see that, hey, all some ain't right about this. This can't be true. You can't come out here one minute and say this and this and this happened, and then, oh, it didn't really happen like that. I was taught, Bruce is real, y'all. Bruce is real. Look at my finger, and then say, I wasn't talking about physical. I was talking about mental and emotional. And all the while, all of this is going on. She's behind the scenes trying to reconcile with her husband. You heard that right. There she. Hey, Imani. That's a new name. All the while, y'all, behind the scenes, she's trying to reconcile with her husband. She's showing up with lingerie on. Um, what else happened, y'all? Help me out. Showing up with lingerie. You got her on audios. RH released audios where she's saying, um, I don't have to sign no divorce papers. If I want to drag you in and out of court, I could and be a bee about it and not sign. All of this is going on behind the scenes. You hear her on audio saying she's telling people what to post because she's in her mind thinking that RH is making his family, at the time, his family was cutting for him, making his family do things on social media for him. So in her mind, because she thought that, and RH is on audio telling her, I'm not making him do anything. We didn't see that man come out here plenty of times and tell his family not to say nothing. Don't say nothing, y'all. Because he knows how social media goes. You can't win with social media. Okay? So he told them plenty of times, and they even came out and said that he said don't go back and forth. But they couldn't help it, right? Because nobody wants to see their family being drug on social media to that magnitude. So time progresses, she's still trying to reconcile. And it was even an audio where um RH, she was in the DR, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, y'all, because I'm trying to think back, but I do have receipts. I think she was in the DR, and it was a phone conversation that he recorded where he's telling her, now you see why I no longer want to reconcile because I just seen some more stuff that you came out and did on social media, right? So they going back and forth, they going back and forth, and he was even asking her about the child, asking about their baby, and she's like, well, if you ain't calling me to work it out, don't call me no more. And he's like, we got a whole child together. How you how you gonna say don't call you and we got a child? And she wasn't hearing that child. She was ignoring it. If we ain't working it out, don't call me no more. That's all she wanted to hear. We're gonna reconcile. But he wasn't privy to her actions on social media. He missed a lot of the stuff she did, y'all. So behind the scenes, she was basically trying to reconcile the marriage, but publicly, she was still painting a certain picture about him because she didn't want to look like a liar on social media. It's all about that public validation. She didn't want to go back on what she said publicly, but she wanted to fix it behind the scenes. But once you come out here and paint your husband as a woman, Beater, it's hard to come back from that. And she had much rather lose her marriage than right her wrong. Yes, she did come out here and apologize initially. But when you apologize and you start moving the exact same way, that apology goes down the drain. You can't come apologize and take accountability and then start doing the exact same thing because in your mind, you're thinking that he's making other people speak on you. This is where it gets tricky, y'all. She was thinking that because keep in mind what I previously told y'all, bloggers had then started stepping up and doing content on her, calling out her lies, debunking her lies, and all of that based off of the things that she said. All of it was based off of what she put out and the audios and stuff that RH put out initially. So she started seeing that, and then also his family in defense of him, and she was blaming him for it. She was taking what other people were doing out on him. Out on him. Still dragging him on social media saying, well, your sister said this and da 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 and da 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 da, which is not cool. Because he even told her on one of those recorded calls, I'm not making them do anything. And she was like, you give them money, you can tell them to shut up. And he's like, I am not making them do anything. I tell them to stop. Don't go back and forth. And we've all seen him do it. But she still proceeded to blame him for the behaviors of other people. Even to this day. That's the crazy part, y'all. To me, in my opinion, true accountability on her part is her finally coming out here and no longer blaming him for the actions of others. That would be true accountability from her on my part. What I think. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Because all of her actions have been based off of what other people are doing in defense of him, not what he's doing. If you know, she even said on her live stream today, I'm gonna make it my goal to prove that this man putting batteries in people's backs and he's in chats pushing. Hold on, y'all. She said he's in chats, promoting them on, telling them to keep going. But it's when she say, that he be saying, keep dragging my ex-wife, keep doing this, keep bully her forever. That man ain't never once said that. That's what you call a manipulated truth. Or a lie, period. He ain't never came in nobody's chat and said, keep bashing her, keep bullying her, don't stop. He ain't never said that. What the man said was before, because I've seen it with my own eyes, is I respect the truth. He putting out the truth. He even said, because it was said it was a phone call, right? Where he told people, I don't have no problem with nobody putting out the truth, but don't bash her. Don't drag her. Don't talk about her looks. Don't talk about her feet. That man said that. Even after all the BS she did to him. That's some crazy. That speaks volumes, y'all. So while you out here still blaming him for the behaviors of others because you take what you want and run with it, like I said, that's true accountability right there. If she was to come out and say, I will no longer blame him for the actions of others, that's a part of true accountability. Because I have a whole video up now where this man has literally told people, leave her alone. She cannot handle social media. We're not together, but that's still my family. I have a child with her. Where he even posted a post saying, and y'all remember this post. I have the receipt. I'll show y'all tomorrow. Where he got on social media and he said, Team LaTrue and Bree, y'all leave the kids out of it. Don't mention the kids. Nobody talk about the kids. And he said some other stuff too or whatever. And she went in the comments and agreed. And she shared his post. She went in the comments, agreed. She said, I agree. It's time out. Nobody need to talk about the kids and da-da-da-da. And she shared the post to her page. Where you even had bloggers coming out was like, Maine Not So Funny was one of them. He was in his feelings about that. Because he said, well, she talking about she don't follow him. She got him blocked. But soon as he make this post, she see it and she share it and she comment. I still have their receipt. He said, because I don't know, dude. Everything I'm doing is because of you. I'm out here fighting because of you. Because of what you told me about your ex-husband, about your husband. Because at the time, they was still married. So he said that on, and I have that audio, basically letting people know they phone conversation. Everything I'm doing and saying is because of what you told me. I don't know, dude. So it was people in their feelings behind that because they came. And to show you how social media works. How can you be mad at positivity? People coming together. Because when that happened, I was good with that. I was like, yes, like finally a little relief. You know what I'm saying? A little relief. Even though I know I had never spoke on kids, it was only commentary on like how I do now, y'all. But I was glad because I'm all for that. I want to see them co-parent positively because at the end of the day, whatever happens between them affects that baby. Period. And her mental. Nobody wants to see their parents not getting along and going back and forth on social media. Especially public figures with millions of followers. Because that baby gonna have to see all of this one day. She will. She gonna see all of them kids gonna see this one day. The behaviors that was displayed. And that's the saddest part about it all. So when you get on here and you try to blame bloggers for speaking and doing content, doing their jobs, and don't consider your own behavior and what your baby's gonna see that you displayed, ma'am, all over social media years to come. That's the most sad, disheartening, and unfortunate part of it all. Because we can't hold people accountable for our actions. We can only hold ourselves accountable. Your babies will see. And that's the question that a lot of people need to ask themselves. Are you proud of your behavior on social media? Because one day, the very ones who look up to you is going to see that behavior that was displayed. And can you go back and say, oh, I ain't mad at it. Child, listen. Whew, so, where I stopped off, y'all? Y'all remember where I stopped off? Do y'all remember where I stopped off? Like, that. It's so unfortunate, y'all. To be honest, that's why I don't like when she get out here and lie and say, "Oh, y'all bullying and dragging my babies." Because, like I said, I've never talked about those babies in a derogatory manner or anything like that. I won't do that because I have kids, and I feel like it hit harder when you got kids of your own that can be talked about. I don't talk about people cheering because I don't want nobody to talk about mine. Because babies are innocent. They really are. Even her twins. Them babies is innocent. Regardless of who, kids don't pick their parents, y'all. They don't get to pick their parents. And they can't be held accountable for their parents' actions either. Even though they can be shamed from it, unfortunately, because of what then went on. But they don't get to pick them. And that's the craziest part of it all. She really needs to sit back and look and just really sit down and look at her own behavior while you fake taking accountability or fake being accountable. It's time for real accountability. It's time out for the foolishness, the gaslight, the lies. It's time to take real accountability. For real. I just don't get it. So let me see. Where do we leave off, y'all? You say once the proof started to come out, I knew then she provoked him a lot of times, and then some did some things too, but not to the extent she had to go on podcast tours, tearing him in. But see, that was a part of the plot. One Reese Pooh. It was a plot. If y'all remember when Tasha K came out here and showed proof that Allowance management was in her DM because they were trying to push trying to build her YouTube platform is very ironic because that's what she's trying to do now. But trying to build her YouTube platform and partner with the biggest drama platform, which is Tasha K's, uh, based off of this TV story. She was trying to brand her platform and use that storyline to build it. And Tasha K knew it was some BS because she said, "Do you have any proof? No. Do you have any doctor reports? Police reports? No." She asked her that in the DM. Well, it was asked in the DM. I don't know if it was to her or the management, but it was asked in the DM. And she also said um that once it started, the focus started shifting from the actual DV story to building the platform. She knew something wasn't right. She knew something wasn't right. And she said, had she would have got her on her platform, she would have told her a new you know what and asked her all the right questions. So that happened, right? But in the midst of everything going on, things were constantly still coming out, y'all. Like I said, it was things being done behind the scenes, but different narratives were being painted publicly. Even as far as RH was still involved with the kids up until Johnnell came into the picture. That date is still a question mark. Even though we know what Chrissy said, right? But the actual date is still in question as to when that involvement started. Because even the post that they made on social media, you have one post where she's saying they got in a relationship in June, and I have a receipt where he put January 2023, which was 3 months after she separated from her husband. And then here's the thing, if you really look at it contributes to how fast she moved on. But um, even though they separated, I mean, even though they had the situation October 14th, they still slept together after the fact because she showed up in that lingerie, and of course he knocked off. That still happened. Um, it was a lot of back and forth about reconciliation. So all of that was going on behind the scenes. So it's like, at what point did you even have time to entertain another ninja when you still was unsure about your marriage? Well, you were sure, or H was unsure. She wanted the marriage. He was at one point, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, at one point he was considering it until he started seeing her behavior on social media. More and more started coming out. She was painting a different narrative on social media than what she was saying behind the scenes. And that's when he really realized that you trying to set me up. He was like, I would much rather my peace than all of this. Even though I'm pretty sure he didn't expect nor think that him wanting his peace more would turn into an issue. Show. Or everything that's going on as far as people still dragging him for that marriage and all of that. And that's why sometimes I be like, dang, I wonder if had he would have taken her back, would all of this still be going on? Because I look at their situation and her situation with Janash's, where she took Janash's back and people giving him a pass. They swept it under the rug. Everything this girl came out here and said, they swept it under the rug because she stayed with him. Oh, she said he changed. He did a 360. What? Abrussahs don't change completely. They take time off. They switch it up a little so they can keep you there. But that demon's still there, baby. You best believe. And you could tell the demon is still there based on her whole demeanor change in that live stream yesterday. Ain't nobody doing all that and switching up at the drop of a dime over a man who they are not afraid of. Ain't no way. Especially if you being your true self. If that's your personality, that's how you act. Who switches up their demeanor like that? I ain't never seen it. But back to the story. So, um, Janoshos made a post. I still have that receipt, y'all, where he posted in a relationship January 2023. And it took not that, but when she first popped out with him on some this my best friend type ish, it took social media by storm because people were literally befooled. Like, who moves on that fast? What's going on? Best friend, my ex, and all of these different things, right? Social media just could not believe that she claimed to have been in a 6 year long abusive marriage and then goes to another man that quickly. Because we all know when a woman on some BF type shit, ooh, ish, that's cap. That's cap. Ain't no, oh, that's my BFF, best friend forever. Unless it's a friend that you've been having, like high school. Ain't no woman, listen, y'all. If you know, you know. Ain't no woman grasping on to a straight male on some friendship type ish. I've never seen it done. Now I didn't see, it'd be situations where, it's a friend, a male friend that you've been having for a while or whatever. But just a ninja that come up out the blue and all of a sudden it's your best friend. We all knew what time it was. It was too much going on. You can hear her calling him Bay here and there and like, child. Bye. But anyways, he came into the picture and people were just confused. Like, it was like, what is going on, child? Where this man come from? And she started bragging on him. He's a big stepper. He's, on Wu Tang Saga and ain't no Facebook act and real life act and da 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 da. All that bragging on her best friend. All of these different posts and things, gassing him up, putting him on a pedestal, and you know, everything any woman would do to try to make their ex jealous, right? That ain't over their ex. Because when you over your ex, you ain't doing all that. You ain't doing all that. And we found out later on that it was a motive even behind that. Once that story time came along and certain text messages got leaked, we knew that things were being done to try to make the bloggers look bad and one up the bloggers, and also to make the ex-husband look bad, or let me say, make him feel like I no longer wanted my ex. Child, first of all, if you dealing with a man and he feels like you won't still want your ex, 9 times out of 10 you ain't over that ex and you giving him reasons to believe that. And that's when you know you ain't fully healed and ready to move on. Because the ex wouldn't even be made mention when that healing takes place, baby. They wouldn't even know. They wouldn't even know. But we seen constant subliminals. We seen her doing live streams. I'll never forget. She was in New York at that premiere with your nostrils, and I'ma assume that was the premiere where some things happened that she claimed in her story time when she first seen his dark side. But she was in that hotel getting ready for the premiere, and she went live and talked about her ex-husband the entire live stream to where she was late for Janostral's premiere. And they got into an argument over that. That's some crazy work. So it was plenty of things that was done that made Janostrals feel, which brought on his intimidation, right? Because he was very much intimidated by RH behind the scenes. Okay? Very much intimidated. Think about it, y'all. He even told her that he dealt with Pretty Bree because of what was going on with her and her husband. That was in the text message about the cheating situation with Pretty Bree. He said, man, I got you and your ex stuff on my brain. I got what I'm dealing with on my brain. I got drunk and let her SUCK. What? You knew this woman was fresh out of a marriage, not even divorced yet when you met her and pursued her. You knew that. So to make an excuse as to why you cheated is some crazy work. That is the craziest thing ever. That alone would have made me stop dealing with him. Just that. Because no, now you showing me, now you really exposing your hand. Now you showing me how you gonna move in our situation because you know I'm still not done with this situation. Legally wise, it ain't no extra stuff going on, just legally. So you using that to your advantage to be able to do what you want to do and still have me. No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. So you know what? Let me finish my business over here. And then if we decide to pursue something later on, once that's situated or taken care of, we can do that. But no, she stayed tagged along, even though he was doing a lot infidelity wise. And um she had already seen his demon side, right? Or the dark side, whatever you want to call it, child. Um Hold on, try to keep with y'all these comments. Hey to everybody that's coming in, y'all. Please hit that like button for your girl. Okay. So, um, it was just a whole lot going on. She said in her story time that she seen the dark side of him the very first meeting they had. So when you know what? Let me say this. Not everybody is privileged in that way. Not everybody gets that, gets to not everybody gets that opportunity. When God gives you a sign before feelings even involved, you run. If that man showed you an abusive manner or behavior the first time y'all linked up, that was God giving you that sign. This ain't it, baby. Keep it pushing. But because of low self esteem, insecurity, needing social media validation, and whatever else, you proceeded to move forward in that relationship. When here's the thing, and this is one of the things that I held on to, y'all, since I've been covering this saga. When a woman has been in an abusive relationship, even for years, you know all the signs, you know all the behaviors, you know all the red flags, you're able to recognize them, even if they're very, very faint, right? I don't know no woman that's going to go from an abusive situation to another and stay in it. So that's why I would always say is given that what I would say this initially. This is what, contributed to me doing videos and certain things like that. But it gave that she really didn't experience what she said she did with RH, even though we know it now, we know she didn't. Well, some of the stuff, she didn't experience that because if you did, you would have ran away from this situation, especially if he showed you his abusive side the first time y'all linked up. You ain't gonna stay in it. You gonna run from it. You gonna run from it. Because if y'all remember, when they initially started dealing with each other, she was keeping it on the hush hush. She didn't come right out and show people she was dealing with him. Eventually, she did, but she didn't come right out the initial, meetup, whatever, because she knew that was entirely too soon to show anybody she was talking to somebody else. But that was her sign. That was her God given sign for her to kick rocks, and she just stayed for the wrong reasons. And when you stay with somebody for the wrong reasons, it never works out. Even now, trying to force a relationship that was built off of a rocky foundation never works, regardless if you got kids or not. That situation wasn't built off of God. It wasn't built off of stability or any of that. It was built off of Let me see on his side, let me see what I can get from her financially. Let me see how I can use her up. And on her side, let me see how I can use him for validation and to make my ex-husband jealous. And we both do our thing with each other, whatever, whatever. They both were using each other in some way, form, or fashion. And it got exposed later on. Well, with as far as the nostrils, that been exposed because she been showing the world everything she was doing for him, but nothing of what he was doing for her. That's the crazy part. At what point does he do something for you? We see it was so long before she finally showed him buying her anything. Hold on, y'all. Whew, all right, y'all. Give me some water. Yep, it was so long until he finally did something. So it's like we seen the play early on, y'all. We seen the play, child. And then, more and more stuff started happening. It was even a point where him and RH had got cool. Now they wasn't friends, y'all. This was before he started, participating in antagonistic games on social media, using that man child and all of that. This was before that. This was before people even found out about Pretty Bree. He was cool with RH. He was cool with RH. He called RH a king. He was like, I ain't got no problems with that king or whatever. And I heard she was mad about that. Whenever he said that, she didn't like the fact that he wasn't defending her. She didn't want him to be cool with her ex-husband or anything like that. Why would you look like being a mature adult, right? So, which that's how it should be. Because if there's no problems, if nobody's still wanting nobody, we shouldn't have no issues on being cordial. Especially if we all in this thing together, because it literally takes a village when it comes to kids being involved, right? It shouldn't be no issues. It shouldn't be no back and forth. We all mature. That was your past. This is your present. It shouldn't be no problems. But because feelings were still involved, motives and narratives were trying to be carried out as far as making this man jealous or making the other one think I no longer want the ex. It was too much going on to where it could even be at a point of maturity and cordialness. So I'm pretty sure certain things were being said behind the scenes, per usual, pillow talking, da 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 da. Next thing you know, I'm skipping through a little bit, y'all, but the Pretty Bree situation happens. Um, Of course, RH is being put to blame for that, right? Where Janassus goes live and goes live talking about everything is green. Y'all remember that live? Like, I got a whole nother side to me, and since he gave Tasha K permission to put this out, I'm like, first of all, he can't give Tasha K. Do you know who Tasha K is? She will not get no permission from nobody. You crazy? What happened is she called RH for him to clear his name of any involvement. That's what happened. She ain't called him to get permission to put the Pretty Bree situation out. But that's the narrative they try to spin so that it can be the focus can go back to RH and not on the deception or the cheat. That's what happened. So after that, everything changed. You got him starting to use this man child against him, posting videos with this man child. Papa John love you, my baby girl. You got Laonia sharing the videos and saying real stepfather gang, real father gang, and in people chats talking about Ja her daddy. I'ma protect mine on my soul. And child, was just so much going on, so much back and forth. You got them pretending like her daddy outside, knowing doggone well she wasn't scared of her daddy. She thought Janassus was taking her. That's what really happened in that video. That's why she really was crying, because she thought he was taking her away from her mama. Not that RH was outside, because baby girl didn't even have no shoes on. And she could clearly see her daddy was not outside because they was right by the door. Make it make sense. And calling her daddy Robert. So now, since we're no longer married, my child's supposed to call me Robert because you want to call me Robert, or because you have an ulterior motive, or because you and your feelings because I wouldn't reconcile. Because that's all it was initially, y'all. And anybody, any woman can recognize a scorned woman. Any woman, because we all have been at a point where we broke up with somebody, feelings were still there. Now, what you did moving forward is completely up to you and your maturity level and your impulsiveness. Everybody don't crash out on the internet when they break up with somebody and they still got feelings for them. Everybody don't do that. Everybody ain't bitter either, using the child as a pawn or against the other person. Everybody does not move like that. Everybody had, situations too where they be like, my child ain't going around that girl. Maybe when you younger, but when you get to a certain age and you start to mature, it's like, baby, if you not with that man or that woman, your child gonna have to be around somebody else. You don't get to dictate that. You don't get to control that. Unless you still want them or gonna be in a relationship with them, you don't get to dictate who the girlfriend is, who the child gonna be around. All you can do is hope that the person that you decided to procreate with makes the best judgment when it comes to y'all child or children. That's it. And that's the craziest part to me. People be making kids with people, men and women, and then when they break up, it's all of these issues. Like, they still the same person. And they was good enough for you to make a child with. This is why I say watch who you procreate with. Because there's a possibility that y'all can break up, and then guess what? You're gonna have all kind of problems. All kind of problems. And I don't think a lot of people consider that. Like, come on now. Anyways, so all of that happened, y'all. This is part one. Part two gonna be tomorrow. We're gonna show some receipts tomorrow with part two, baby. But which part was I on, y'all? I didn't forgot. Let me see. All of that was going on. They was using the child to antagonize RH and everything. Um, yep, Giselle, I spoke on that. Yep. The therapist, she went got that therapist and everything. They was using baby girl to antagonize her dad, which everybody knows that's a big no-no. And I think she knows that you want to get to RH, you go through his kids. I think both of his baby mamas know that because that's what they use. That's what shows that he's a real father. Real father game for real. Because a ninja that don't care, you can't use a child against him. A real DB, you can't use a child against them because they don't care. I know he care about his child more than anything in this world, so I'm gonna use my child against him. Prime example. While they was out here painting him to be a bad father, and then you got foot meat coming into the play. Child, we just gonna insert her just a little bit, even though we know she played a major role. One minute he's a great father and he's always been the apple of their child's eye and vice versa, even while they've been broken up for over 20 years. Um, all of these good things. The next minute it's he ain't never been a good father and oh child, he hit me with chicken nuggets and ketchup and it was just so many moving parts. So many moving parts. We even seen text messages between the baby mamas where you got baby mama number two telling mama number one, go off on RH and Rex, talk about them on the internet. That's how you build your page and make your money and da 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 da. And you got her saying, no, I don't want to do that, but she still did it. She still did it, right? Still did it. Even though she didn't get the outcome she wanted. Because I think she wanted her page to blow up like Laonia's, but that was two different RHs that you both had, right? You had RH before the big platform RH. She got to RH once his big platform was established. So it's not going to be the same outcome. You would have thought she knew that, but we are talking about foot meat, right? But yeah, it was plots. It was all plotted, y'all. All plotted. Monetary gifts were given for, involuntary what's the word? Um when you side with somebody. What's the word I'm looking for? Hold on. It's there, y'all. Let me think about it. Accessory. Let's say that. Monetary gifts were given as means of manipulation and accessory. I'm a co-sign you. I'm a co-sign, certain things or whatever. Manipulation of kids. It was now this saga that has so many moving parts. So when she's trying to get people to shut up because she don't like the fact that people are calling out her bad behavior, you can't do that. That's not how social media works, baby. You don't have the control over that. You don't. You can only control your actions moving forward. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. So all of that happened. And then you got the back and forth. And I think a lot of people don't know how all of the back and forth amongst the CCs and bloggers happened, right? With the docs and they didn't have people that didn't lost uh their jobs been contacted, their spouses, family members. Child, these people done did some stuff. That started initially on Laonia's side. It started on her side. So when you hear people say, oh, that both sides and did some stuff, I have to say yes. But it started on her side first. I still have the receipts and remember that very live stream when it started becoming an outroar on social media or uproar, whatever you want to call it, where kids were being talked about, not hers, might I add. Jobs were being called and all of these different things, people being doxxed. And because it started spreading more and more on social media, and she didn't want her name on it because people were doing it in the name of her, right? She decides to go live and cease all. Stop everything you're doing. No negativity. Don't respond to it. Don't comment on nothing. Da, 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 right? All of that was good until audios were released. Well, she's telling us to stop, but she's still sending us the stuff to post about these people. She's still telling us what to post. And then when we can't post because our page is in Facebook jail or whatever, she blocking us. When she can't use us to her advantage, she's blocking us or she cutting us off. That's what the audios consisted of, right? So when you speak about kids, that's how kids initially even got thrown into this. And I ain't even talking about just her kids. I'm talking about kids, period. It started on your side, ma'am. And she knows that. It started on her side. Because you did that live stream in panic mode, trying to cease all. Child, you had, even when it came to little MJ, shout out to Chandra, you had trolls calling the cancer place trying to stop that baby cancer treatment. So when I tell y'all this saga done been in the mud, it done been in the mud. So when you hear her say certain things as if she's some type of victim or she innocent, child bad. Even the situation with Chandra. Chandra said something, but it was in response. It was retaliation. You don't get to play with my child and everybody don't move the same. Everybody don't keep kids out of it. Some people gonna go to hell with you, okay? And Chandra one of them. She gonna go to hell with you, especially about her baby. People were doing all of this because people were supporting RH, speaking up for him. Because they felt like she was a victim, and because some other women felt like she was not a victim, you got people getting doxxed, people's job being called, hospitals being called, uh, what else? All kind of stuff, y'all. It was so much. She shared one of the posts where it said, Laonya shared this in her story, and this is another receipt. Hold on, I'm gonna tell y'all. She shared this in her story. Let me pull it up. It says, some of y'all are risking y'all jobs over this man, and I do not understand it. He got y'all more obsessed with Laonya than he is. Laughing emoji. That girl is out living her best life while y'all talking about her from your 9 to 5 cubicles. Make it make sense. That man didn't even wish his daughters a happy V-Day. That's what they was worried about. We doing commentary on her, but y'all worried about him wishing his daughters a happy Valentine's Day. As if he had to do it publicly. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with the internet now. So when y'all speak about minuscule stuff or certain people talking about certain things, does it matter if he wished his daughters a happy Valentine's Day or not? Because last time I checked, V-Day ain't even for kids in the first place. But that's the type of things that they would get on him about. Uh, a happy Valentine's Day, but he's all over social media with a paid prop. They talking about leader. And laugh aloud, by the way, this is the best pick I could find of him that I could find. The little man, crackhead man from PJ. That's what she shared in her story. Laonya. And speaking of leader, if you know and you've been in the saga since the beginning, then you know that Lita came in doing content with RH. She never spoke negatively about the ex-wife, not one time publicly. Never. Not on her platform, not in the skits or any of that. She kept it strictly professional. She did her skits with RH and she kept it moving. But guess who did? Guess who bullied that lady? Laonya herself. Because I have the receipts where Tubi presents, or I ain't wet in the bootleg. I ain't never seen something so Tubi. Like she was going hard on this lady. There are even messages between DM messages between Laonia and Lita, might I add, that I have, and other people got them too, because it was posted on social media, where Lita is checking her, letting her know, because Laonia sent her a message saying, "Hey, love, I just wanted you to know that social media is trying to pin us against each other, and whatever, whatever. And I ain't never said nothing negative about you. They being messy, da 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 da." So Lita responds and say, "That's a lie, because I seen it for myself. I seen you talking about me, insult me, and I've never said nothing negative about you. So it's not social media." She let her know. And that was the truth. That girl didn't say nothing. But because she was still in her jealous mode, she still wanted her husband. That's why she was throwing subs at Lita, because people were in her comments saying, and this brings me back to her feeding off of what people in the comments say. Not what RH is doing, but what people in the comments saying, right? People were in her comments saying, "Oh, she's prettier than you. She's natural. Oh, that's RH new girlfriend." Da 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 da. Right? And because they were saying that in her comments, she was feeding off of that and insulting the girl. They had people in the name of her going after the girl, doing this, going in the girl's comments, saying all kind of mean stuff. Like, it was so much, y'all, to where the girl had to stop working with RH because of it. Because of it. It was crazy. And that lady ain't said nothing. She was doxxed and everything by Biggie Small, her ex sister. Doxxed. Mixed Styles even put out text messages where Laonia was talking about Lita, sending her puppy dog pictures and asking Mixed Styles, "Who is this?" And Mixed Styles saying, I ain't gonna say who she said it was, but she said, "No, it's Lita." So she was definitely in her feels behind that one, B. Okay, listen. And that lady ain't did nothing to her. You can't get mad at people. It brings me back to y'all. I'm gonna say this, then we're gonna soon get off because I gotta go get my baby from school. She want me to pick up today. But you cannot get mad and hold people accountable for what other people are doing or what people in the comments do. She's still doing that till this day. You would think because she's been on social media so long, she would learn from that and not do that. Because you can't go to not now courthouse and tell not now judge, uh, this is this was posted and I want I want a TPO on this person. It don't work like that. You cannot get a temporary protection order on somebody for something that somebody else said. Because everything I heard her mention in that live stream didn't come from the bloggers. It came from people in the comments, trolls, etc. I don't think no blogger would be there that reckless with their platform because it is defamation. It is slanderous. It is malicious. Ain't nobody that crazy. That's troll behavior. But it's the same thing, y'all. Same thing she did with this lady, attacking this lady and saying all this about this lady. She even went live to, "I make more money than both of y'all." Da 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 da. That lady ain't never did nothing to her. Nothing. She sure is, Latte. That girl is a mess. So that's what's gonna get her in trouble one day. Watch. Mark my word. Especially when you on, and this is why it's good to have uh, a PR and management. So they can advise you what to do and what not to do on social media. Because you could get yourself in trouble trying to move like a regular person when you have a platform of that size. You can't do some of the things that she does. You can't be the victim and the villain, baby, in the story. It don't work like that. Thank you, me us, for the coffee, my love. I appreciate you. You can't be victim and villain in your story. It makes no sense. If you don't have no sound, you're gonna have to leave out and come back. Miss Coretta, because everybody else can hear me. Yep, you can't be victim and villain. It does not work like that. All right, let me see what y'all done saying. Well, thank y'all so much for these supers. I appreciate you guys' support. Y'all already know that though. Thank you, Lakeith. Thank you, Queen Money. You say y'all show facts and keep it real, and the truth hurts. Y'all applying big pressure. Exactly. We show the truth based off of what she puts out there. That's the difference, and that's where it hurt because y'all know the truth always hurts. It always hurt me. Thank you, Myla. You said I don't know if y'all heard it, but when her pimp walked in, she made sure to say that 3 year old super chat party is if she was online yapping, he had to make sure his 304 was getting some coins. Dumb as hell. You crazy, Mala. Thank you, my Karen, for both of these. Thank you, Wisdom Warrior, Miss Geraldine. You say Facebook is not really paying, so she had to come to YouTube so she can keep Clonel expensive gifts up. Listen, and that's why I say in the beginning, if you trying to get a YouTube bag, just say that. Because we know that initially that was your goal, right? Tasha K been clocked that T. That you was trying to basically use that DV storyline to build your YouTube. Rebrand it. Just say you want that. But don't try to, come at bloggers and this and that because you want to try to garnish a revenue over here, ma'am. You ain't gotta do all of that. Everybody can eat on YouTube. Thank you, R. Chapman. Thank you, TT. Thank you again, Wisdom Warrior. Thank you, Miss Robin. Lizzie. Shout out to you. Lizzie was doing her big one. Thank you, my love. Thank you, that one. You say, Lupac, you have always kept your platform clean and pointed out facts. Thank you, that one. I appreciate y'all. Look at y'all. Shout out to y'all for helping me with my little goal, baby. Okay, listen. But I do have to get off, y'all, because I got to go pick up my baby. And for car riders, they get out earlier than actually bus riders, which is crazy. Like, it's a big hour difference for some reason. But I did promise her I was going to pick her up today. So I'm going to get my little baby. I'm going to try to work on a video for y'all. If not, if I have time, I may go live later. Because like I told y'all, I'm going on vacation this weekend. We leaving Sunday. So I might not be able to put out no content for 4 days. I'm gonna try, but y'all know how I operate. Like I might go missing, child. But I might just come back live later with some receipts or whatever. Since we on our Johnnell is the Abrussah trail, right? So we'll see. But I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something from it because y'all know for the most part, even though we discuss the behavior of this person, we try to make it to where it's relative and people can actually learn from it and what to do and what not to do, especially on social media. Okay? It's all about educating me. But I love y'all and I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.
That goes by. People always ask me why black holes. Listen up, baby girl, shit, I'm about to let you know. Why I always got a black holes. Whoa. They talking shit up in my comments. Yeah. They don't know, but I'm about to block them. Cause every day, I block holes. They be being shady, yeah. Whoa. Cause you know I block holes, baby. In different area codes, baby. You never know, but I block